In this video, I want to teach you how to build a website like this from start to finish with AI. When I was building my startup Lead Scout, it was really frustrating to find funding resources, specifically funding resources that don't dilute your equity, take away from what you're building. They're just scattered. They're on state websites, government websites. They're scattered across venture capital websites. And it's really hard to know what's available to you to get the money you need to build your business. So I decided to consolidate a few resources that I was aware of in the Midwest for founders in early stages that are looking for this type of stuff when they're building their business. And I put it this website. I even launched it online so you can find it on the internet these days. All right, so let's get started and I'll talk you through my workflow. It's really easy. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to start with by going to v0.dev. This is V0. It's an AI tool, and you can start with a basic prompt. So, looking back on my prompt, I just want to show you what I did. Let's go back to the beginning here. I used this prompt right here. And you could use the same thing. So, we could start a new chat. I'll paste this prompt in, just have it go. It's going to go. But let's go back to while it's building, we'll go back to the prompt that I used. And basically what I did was I pasted in that prompt. It gave me a website that looked something like this, right? And had some filters with it. You can kind of filter things down, right? But it's not perfect, right? You're essentially, this is the starting blocks of what you're looking for. And so then what you do after you have this file or this file structure in V0 is you're going to go ahead and export that. So you're going to download the zip file, right? So download the zip file. Let's check in on the one that we were just building. It's still going. We'll check back on that later, see what it does. It might be completely different from what I built. Okay, so then we're going to go over to Cursor AI. So if you don't have this, download it. Yeah, so you load this file structure right into Cursor, and you can see all of your files right here, right? Now, you might not know what to do with anything, and that's okay. So you can just talk to Cursor, and this is what I did. Talk to Cursor and asked it what I needed to do, right? So the first thing I did is I wanted to inject real content in this website. I went over to ChatGPT first and foremost, and I inserted a prompt like this to ask for some funding resources in Michigan, specifically non-dilutive funding resources. And an important thing when you're creating a prompt like this, asking for these resources, is to use the search feature in GPT to get the most recent results. So you can go ahead and type in a query, a prompt to ask for non-dilutive funds, grants, seed funding options, so on and so forth. I had it narrow into Michigan, and I had it just give me 5. I didn't want it to be this exhaustive list without a lot of details. And then I used the search feature, and it gave me these 5 results, all of which are pretty good. I'm from Michigan, and I know what's available in Michigan now. So I go ahead and copied this information, and then I take that information and I pasted it into Cursor, and I said, give me a SQL script to inject this new this content into Supabase database tables. Supabase is a database solution, so you can use that to feed your website. So basically what I did is I took that SQL script that Cursor gave me. Looks something like this right here. So I copied that SQL script it gave me. I went to Supabase, I created an account, I created a new database table, and I went to the SQL editor and I just pasted that SQL script in here, just like that. And then I ran it, right? And so you can see right here, this is exactly what I did, right? And it builds out the table structure with all that information. There it is. So once I had that done, I had, my code here. Oh, check this out. This is the new one. This is great. That looks pretty cool. Looks kind of similar to what I had. That's great. Wow. Lovely. Anyways, so we had the code that looked like this, right? We have the database now with Supabase. The next thing I would do is just upload my code to GitHub. So if you don't have a GitHub account, go create one, and then you import your folder to GitHub, and then you can set up a Netlify account. So GitHub hosts the files. Set up a Netlify account and set up a new site on Netlify, and link that with that repository on GitHub. And Netlify will deploy that app for you. So you can very quickly take those files from GitHub and auto-publish those, and it will deploy it to a website. It'll be on the Netlify domain, right? So this is my website on the Netlify domain. Deploys it right here. And then if you want to set up your own domain, which I did, I bought a domain using Netlify. It's as easy as buying it right there, and then you can use that to be an alias on your Netlify domain. So it will show up right here. And so it's really as easy as that. These cards are coming from Supabase, this database right over here. Looks something like this. Here's the actual tables. Here's all the information. So those cards are coming from that. The project code is coming from using Cursor to edit that. And Cursor makes it really easy. If you're not aware of what to do in Cursor, you can just ask the chat to the questions that you want to know. So if you're ever running into an issue, you just ask it. Or if you wanted to fix an error, you can ask it. And then you can push this information or push whatever code changes you have, up to GitHub. You can use GitHub Desktop if you want, or you can use the command line if you want. You can import that information into GitHub, and then Netlify will just auto deploy that whenever you make a change to the internet. So anytime I want to make a change to this, I can auto deploy. So without doing it live for you, which would probably take about an hour, I wanted to create a quick overview of how I did it and how I pieced everything together. And hopefully this was helpful for you. Maybe if this was, let me know, and I can give you more of a deep dive into step-by-step building this out. This website took me about an hour to build from start to finish. And part of that was navigating Supabase, because this was actually the first time I'd used that on a project. So part of that was just figuring out the idiosyncrasies of that project. So hopefully you found this helpful. If you want to hear a little bit more about my story of finding funding and all that, head on over to my website. I wrote up a blog on this and talked through some of the things that I've experienced, in the funding ecosystem in the Midwest. So let me know what you think. If you love this, subscribe this video, but also you can go ahead and get tuned into future updates on my website. So tune in there, enter your email address, and stay tuned with some of the other stuff I'm working on. Thanks, everybody. Hopefully you found this helpful.